He got too close, thinking he could do anything. The tourist in the Hawaiian shirt grabbed a Royal Guard's uniform and smirked, confident that the motionless soldier was just part of the show. But he didn't know one thing. Even a stone has a boiling point. One step from the guard changed everything. The crowd gasped, cameras turned on, and the arrogant man found himself in dirt and disgrace. What happened next blew up the internet and reminded the world that honor is not for sale. Ready to find out how a silent hero turned the day into a lesson no one will forget? Let's start from the very beginning. London, Buckingham Palace. The murmur of the crowd rolls through the courtyard like a symphony of chaos. Shorts, hats, shouts. A tourist mecca where the sacred transforms into entertainment. The Royal Guard, majestic and immovable, stands as the sentinel of tradition. But for the gawking crowd, they're nothing more than living decorations for Instagram. At the center of it all, on his post, Sergeant James Willis. Tall as a cypress, with posture that could be measured with a ruler. His face, pure marble, not a muscle moves. A red tunic, polished gold buttons, and a bearskin hat perched perfectly atop his head. And no, he's not a real bear, as some clueless tourists might assume. James symbolizes honor and discipline, the timeless tradition of Britain. "Mom, is he even alive?" shouts a child from the front row, pointing his finger. The mother doesn't respond, busy trying to nail the perfect selfie with the cardboard soldier. Just another day in the hell of tourist theatrics, James might think if he allowed himself such weakness. And then, like thunder from a clear sky, he appears, the main star of this impending train wreck. A man of about 30, with a smug face and a Hawaiian shirt covered in pineapples, knee-length shorts, and a bargain bin cap. In one hand, a cup of soda. In the other, a smartphone primed for epic content. Well, who else could it be? An American, of course. The narrative voice seems to echo in the viewer's head. Elbowing his way through the crowd, he pushes to the front row. "Hey guys, this is a circus!" he shouts, as if performing for a 1,000-strong audience rather than a group of irritated onlookers. "Look at him. Doesn't even blink. Seriously, do they actually pay them for this?" The crowd, instead of condemning his antics, starts to chuckle. After all, mocking someone else's culture is far easier than understanding it. James stands still, a stone statue. He's seen them all. The clowns, the fools, those who fail to understand that his uniform isn't a costume, but a symbol of honor. He knows his motionlessness is often seen as an invitation for provocation. "Is he even alive? Hey dude, smile!" The tourist jeers, swaying slightly, pouring more soda into his own emptiness. His legs spread wide, his gaze cocky. It's obvious to anyone watching. The man thinks he's in charge. He paid money. He's in London. So everything is allowed. He steps closer to James. "No, not this. Anything but this." And then, the unthinkable happens. He leans in and grabs James by the sleeve of his uniform. The crowd freezes. Time seems to stop. "Seriously? Who does that? That's crossing the line!" screams the narrator silently, while the viewer's own indignation begins to boil. James's gaze remains fixed, unyielding, but inside the tension rises to a breaking point. 1 second. 2. The crowd holds its breath. The tourist smirks and makes his second fatal mistake. "So what? You gonna report me? You can't even talk!" He yanks his hand back and steps away, certain he staged the show of the year. A few people chuckle nervously, but murmurs of disapproval ripple through the crowd. "What is he doing? Isn't that illegal? The guards are untouchable." At that moment, clouds begin to gather over London. Not in the sky, but in the mood of the spectators. Some already have their phones out, recording. Others glare daggers at the tourist. And James? He stands firm, as though nothing happened. As though he's a monument to himself. "That's composure! He could have moved him with a single glare," narrates the voice, echoing the thoughts of every onlooker. But everyone knows, the storm is coming. The crowd at Buckingham Palace freezes in shock. The tourist in the Hawaiian shirt arrogantly grabs Sergeant James Willis by the sleeve of his pristine uniform, flashing a smug grin. What now? Just gonna stand there? Lost your control buttons? Tension hangs in the air like a storm about to break. James remains motionless, but it feels as though the taut string of his restraint might snap at any moment. Murmurs ripple through the onlookers, and judgmental glances turn increasingly toward the tourist. "He touched the guard! That's illegal!" whispers a woman in disbelief. Suddenly, a child's scream cuts through the tension. "Mom!" An 8-year-old boy has dropped his stuffed bear, and the toy rolls straight toward the hooves of a guard's horse. The horse snorts nervously, pawing the ground, and without hesitation, the boy darts forward. The crowd gasps and falls silent. In that instant, James breaks protocol. With one swift, decisive step forward, he shoves the tourist aside. The man stumbles, landing on the ground, his garish shirt stained with dirt and spilled soda. His smug expression vanishes, replaced by shock. James strides forward, scooping up the boy and leading him safely back to his distraught mother. Tears stream down her face as she clutches her son. Thank you so much," she cries, overwhelmed with relief. James says nothing. Calmly and deliberately, he returns to his post, standing tall as if nothing had happened. The crowd erupts into excited whispers. "He saved the child! What a hero!" Meanwhile, the tourist, still sitting in the dirt, wails. "He pushed me! That's illegal!" But no one listens. The crowd turns on him with scornful glares. "You'd do better to keep quiet," someone mutters harshly. Now, all eyes are fixed on James. He stands immovable and proud, a living symbol of discipline and honor. Without speaking a word, his actions convey a powerful truth. Tradition is stronger than foolishness and disrespect. The boy is safe. James silently places him beside his mother and returns to his post. He is like a stone wall, unyielding, unshakable. Not a word, not a gesture. Yet the chaos around him only intensifies. The tourist in the Hawaiian shirt, drenched in dirt and sticky soda, scrambles to his feet, yelling as if he's been robbed. "What do you think you're doing? That's assault! Did anyone see that? I'll sue you!" But instead of support, he meets a wall of cold disdain. A veteran, elderly yet upright as a soldier, steps forward. His jacket gleams with medals, and his voice cuts through the crowd like thunder. "You insulted a symbol of this country, sir. You should be ashamed. That man just saved a child." His words hit like a hammer. The crowd murmurs, then explodes. "Shame on you. Go home." This is what true discipline looks like. A woman in a wide-brimmed hat shouts over the growing uproar. "You've disgraced yourself in front of the whole world. The video is already online." The tourist freezes. His smug mask shatters, and his eyes dart around desperately, searching for allies. But all he finds are scornful stares and dozens of cameras pointed right at him. Someone's already uploaded the video with the caption, "Disrespect the Royal Guard? Here's your lesson." I didn't do anything wrong," he stammers, but his voice cracks and disappears into the jeering crowd. James stands resolutely at his post, immovable, majestic, a figure of iron discipline. His silence roars louder than any shout. The veteran gives a slow nod and says firmly, "Thank you for your service, sir." The crowd's anger shifts into a wave of respect. Some people wave in gratitude. Others snap photos, no longer to mock, but to honor. They look at James differently now, as a hero who protected not just a child, but the dignity of his nation. Meanwhile, the tourist slumps back onto the ground, filthy, alone, his ego shattered. As the crowd disperses, someone mutters in passing, "Well, there's your show. Now the whole world will see your disgrace." The video spreads like wildfire. The smug tourist learns a harsh truth. Traditions are not to be touched with dirty hands. They will endure any arrogance. Hours have passed. The video titled, "Don't Touch the Royal Guard," has spread across the internet like wildfire. Millions of views, thousands of comments. The tourist in the Hawaiian shirt has become the laughingstock of the online world. His dirty face and ridiculous pose now headline countless memes with biting captions. "When you wanted a show but became the joke." "The guard's a hero. One step, and he saved a child. Respect can't be bought, but disgrace? Easily. The next day, life in London continues as usual. The courtyard in front of Buckingham Palace is filled with tourists once more, but something has changed. People speak softer, their behavior more restrained. Cameras no longer point disrespectfully in the guards' faces. Some parents whisper explanations to their children. This is a symbol of tradition. It must be respected. Sergeant James Willis stands at his post. The same red tunic, the same black bearskin hat, his gaze fixed straight ahead, unshakable as always. He doesn't look at the people, nor does he seek thanks or recognition. Yet today, his presence feels stronger. His steadfastness has become an example to all. A man in a tweed jacket, his chest adorned with medals, stops for a brief moment. With a respectful nod, he says, "Thank you, sir, for your service and your honor." James doesn't react. He adjusts his hat with a subtle, barely noticeable motion and stands frozen once more, like a bronze statue. That gesture is more than it seems. A quiet reminder that traditions endure as long as there are those willing to protect them. Meanwhile, the headlines online continue to dominate. "Don't mess with the Royal Guard, a lesson this tourist will never forget." The tourist, now an internet meme, sits in his hotel room, too afraid to check his phone. The stains on his Hawaiian shirt may have been washed away, but the comments remain. Dirt can be cleaned, shame lasts forever. That's what happens when you confuse honor with an amusement park. Back at the square, the crowd bustles again, but with a newfound respect. People pass by the guards in silence, restrained and reverent. No one dares touch their uniforms or yell thoughtless remarks. The ceremony is no longer just a spectacle for tourists. It is a reminder of something greater. And James? He stands as he did yesterday and as he will tomorrow. In his silence, there is strength, and in his stillness, the greatness of tradition, unbroken by time or ignorance.